Well, they're not, obviously. But I still wanted to give this devotion because that's what I was told to do. Number one, by God, not by Lindsay. And number two, it's just something we need to hear. I got this from Rick Warren, and I even listened to his sermon today. I had I'm off today. Today's Tuesday. I'm off. I had a lot of doctor's appointments today and a lot of questions answered. And, anyways, I needed to hear this again today. And it's just good every time. I feel like I could listen to it every single day and learn something new. And the more I listen to it, it's probably going to stick with me more. So, anyways, this is for me and for you. So, it's kind of about like when we're feeling anxious, when we're feeling worried, stressed, our troubles, our problems, and how God uses them. And how they're not really the problem. Our problems are not our problems. Our problem is how we use or how we fix that problem. Are we going to continue to trust God and do His will, or are we going to, not trust and go do something else? So he starts out saying that, number one, we need to know that we are not, me and you, everyone sitting here are not the only ones that have had problems. Every single person in the world has problems. No one just skates on in life with no problems. It may look like on Facebook or on Instagram that they just have this perfect life. Their kids are so pretty and they're so pretty and they take the perfect pictures and the perfect outfits and everything's perfect. But that's not true. Just because you see them smiling in a picture, I don't know why people think that their life is perfect just because they're smiling in a picture and they're beautiful, and I don't know. But, and I'm guilty of that too. But just know that you're not the only one. You're also not the only one who gets tempted. Sin is fun. If it wasn't fun, then no one would do it. If it was boring, no one would do it. So it's fun, and we all do it. And so that's something that's a little reassuring. It also says in the Bible that Jesus was tempted the same way we were tempted. He just never sinned. So he was tempted to be anxious. He was tempted to feel depressed. He was tempted sexually. And he just didn't give in. He didn't sin. So it makes me feel better that he knows exactly the temptation and the trouble that I'm going through, and that I can fully tell him about what's going on and honestly tell him, well, he already knows. But it's so good to just get off your chest and just talk to him and tell him exactly what you're feeling, exactly what's going on. And I'm just going to be honest, there have been times where I have been so upset and so frustrated that when I was talking to him, I said a few cuss words, and then I was like, sorry, I know that's not good, but this is just honestly coming from my heart. I'm so sorry, but I feel bad admitting that, but it's the truth, and I'm just going to be an open book because I just don't even care. I don't even care. What y'all talk about after in my bad decisions. But so it says, Peter assures us that the problems we have are normal. Don't be bewildered or surprised when you go through the fiery trials ahead, for this is no strange, unusual thing that is going to happen to you. So God gives us problems to draw us closer to Him. Let me say it again. God uses problems to draw us closer to Him. He may allow some pain in our life but we'll get to that later. But he uses our problems to draw us closer to him. So, one of the verses is, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted. He rescues those who are crushed in spirit. So your most intimate experiences of worship are most likely in your darkest days. If you think about a day in church or a day at home, a day in the car, maybe you just left a funeral and you're in the car and some song comes on and you just burst into tears. You're so down, you're, sad, don't know why it happened, and this song comes on and it's literally God talking to you and you just bawl and you're just like, okay, I'm sorry, blah, 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 blah. So I know we've all been through some kind of experience like that. If another thing that was in here was, he said, if life was full of no problems and everything was just fine, you would never change. You would never grow. You would never want to be a better person or be better because life was comfortable, And so one thing to remember Mason's at home, sorry. One thing to remember is the more I fight it, the more it controls me. So the more you fight it, the more it controls you. So I kind of said that a few weeks ago when I was saying that, let me read it in here. Every time you try to block a thought out of your mind, you drive it deeper into your memory. By resisting it, you can actually reinforce it. Yeah. This is especially true with temptation. You don't defeat temptation by fighting the feeling of it. The more you fight a feeling, the more it consumes and controls you. You strengthen it every time you think it. That was so heavy. I just wanted to just sit there. And I did. After I read that, I just sat there and pondered on that. I'm like, wow. That is so deep, and never thought about it. I didn't know that. Maybe I've been taught it, but of course I didn't. It took me 30 years to start listening. And so anyway, so I had to sit and ponder on that, and the way we overcome it, what we're supposed to do instead of fighting it is to ignore it. So focus on something different. I wrote down refocus, put your mind on something else, and the feeling loses its attraction. And because of your attraction and attention on something else. So once we refocus ourselves, our attention is on something else, and I lose the attraction to feeling worried or anxious. So let's say I don't know, I'm trying to think about something that instead of me, something y'all. Your child is sick and you're going to the doctor, and you have to make sure you get done with A, B, and C at work, and then you have to go pick up the child, then you have to go to the doctor, then you have to go pick up the prescription, then you have to get your other kids, then you have to make sure everyone has dinner, then, all this, and you start thinking about this at 7 a.m. I don't know if I'm the only one. I know I'm not the only one. Let me rephrase that. I know I'm not the only one. So you start thinking at 8 a.m., 7 a.m., 6 a.m. Whenever you get up, you start thinking about all this, and you're starting to get anxious, and you're starting to worry, and you want to make sure every single duck is in their row. You want to make sure everyone's happy, blah, 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 blah. So if we can, as soon as we start to feel that, if we can just completely redirect our focus, start thinking about something else, start thinking about good thoughts, good things, our attraction to that worry, to that anxiousness, to that anxiety will slowly drift away, because our mind's not attracted to it anymore. It's thinking of all these good things that we're now thinking of and all that. Just completely refocusing. And let me tell you, it is hard. It's not going to be like this. It's not going to take one day. I've tried it. I told you a few weeks ago I started it. It's been like a month, and I'm still working. I have really good days and I have bad days. And it stinks. And none of us want to do that. And none of us want to feel that way. No one wakes up every morning saying, I really want to have anxiety all day today. I cannot wait to have my heart racing. I can't wait to be sick to my stomach. No one wakes up thinking that. We don't want it. We know we don't want it. God knows we don't want it. But the things that He's giving us to face are showing us like what's inside. He's hoping to use it to change us, to shape our character, to, instead of feeling angry about some problem that we're now facing, let's say I lost my job and I just am so mad, I don't know why. Instead of doing that, let me pull out my notes. Instead of asking why, we need to ask what. Where did I write that down? I'm sorry, y'all. Oh, what? How is this problem protecting us from something else? And what is it preventing? I thought that was really, really good to think about whenever we have a problem that we're tempted to feel anxious and not trust, and we go into fear mode and all that. The problem we have, whatever it is, how is it protecting us from something else? So let's say I lost my job. How is that protecting me from something else? Well, maybe a year later I come to find out that this company gets sued for some kind of integrity, something, blah, 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 and I'm not there. I don't have anything to do with it. He was protecting me from something by me losing my job. And at the time, I thought it was the most terrible thing in the world. Where am I going to find money? How am I going to pay for this? How am I going to do this? And He keeps providing through this whole time because He's leading you somewhere else. And then what is it preventing? So whenever we're faced with a problem, I want you to try and remember those. Also, I want you to try to remember our problems. He's trying to direct us. Maybe He wants us to go in a different direction. Like with Jonah, he got swallowed up by a whale. He was going this direction. He got swallowed up by a whale, and he got moved into a different direction. He was like, wait. God was like, wait, hold up. I need you to go this way. So we're going to swallow you up and move you over here. That could be like a job. Like, I really don't want you working at Landmark Elementary for the rest of your life. I need you to go to East End because there's someone there. There's some kid there. There's some parent there that you are going to witness to, that you're going to be the light for, that you're going to help change. Something is going to happen, and that's my personal story. That's why I'm being moved, was moved, because there's something new, there's something different, some kind of purpose for me. Another thing He's doing when He's using our problems is He is inspecting us. He's inspecting our character, how we're going to react. Please stop. I'm almost done. Have a seat. He's inspecting us, trying to figure out what is inside of us, and what we can change. He's also trying to correct us. So He says in here, there's punishment and there's correction. Punishment is when it has to do with the past. So you did something and you're being punished for it. You feel guilty, you're being punished for it. Correction has to do with the future. So He wants to shape us for future. So he will never, ever, ever punish us, ever. He will just correct us. He wants to show us, okay, this is how I want you to react in the future. This is what I want you to do in the future. He wants to teach us something. Let me read my notes. I know it's like 16 minutes. I'm trying to hurry up. Times he allows pain to protect us from a greater suffering. He gave an illustration of him and his family. They were going on a vacation. His son just got the stomach flu, and he was just having these terrible abdominal cramps, and just they weren't getting better. He went to the ER, and he actually was having an abruption. Y'all know what I'm talking about, but I can't think about it right now. And so, I mean, he ended up having to have surgery. Like, his pain that he was having led him or protected him from a greater suffering. So, if they wouldn't have listened to those warning signs, if they wouldn't have changed their plans and they just would have kept going, he would have been in a lot more pain than what he was experiencing. So, I related that to something medical that's going on in your life. If it's something, somewhat minor, think about if your doctor and you wouldn't have caught it at the time you caught it, what would have happened in the future? If you wouldn't have gotten the medication you needed and the treatment you needed right then, what would have happened in the future? So oftentimes our pain is protecting us from a greater suffering. So that was kind of comforting to know. And sometimes we don't need to solve it. We can drive ourselves crazy trying to figure out how to solve it. Sometimes we don't need to solve it. He can still use it without it being solved. Let me think. Let me read one more.
Mommy.
I think that was it on that.
Mommy.
Avoid it.
Mommy, I can point this.
Guard your heart. Turn your attention elsewhere. Oh, and the last thing that he was extremely, he just harped on it, is you have to have a group or a partner to hold you accountable, to ask you about what's going on, to keep in touch. He said, we are not going to be able to do it alone. Ecclesiastes 4 says that 2 are better than 1. I should have brought that up. Y'all will have to look it up. Ecclesiastes 4. Let me see if I can pick it up real fast.